Yeah, and I'm absolutely delighted that my CandoFM colleague Dave Nixon is back for a chat about all things rugby league. How are you doing, Dave?
Fine, Tony. Got a bit of a cold, but other than that, I'm all right. Won't stop me going fishing at the weekend.
Now, I haven't seen you for a while, Dave, and you were going fishing down south. What was that like? Was it okay?
It was horrendous, Tony.
Oh,
First day, 26 degrees. Second day, 28 degrees. Third day, still in the 20s. So the fishing was very poor because trout don't like hot weather.
wow. Well, you'll have
sunbathing in a boat for 12 hours.
Well, you'll have to go this week, Dave. It's not cracking the pavements.
Sunday and Monday, Tony.
All right, okay. Well, back down south?
Back down towards Stoke, about 25 miles from Stoke.
Oh, right, okay. Right, Dave, as I say, we're both into rugby league, and it was great news that Barrow managed to get over the line and get promoted to the championship. Me and you went to watch that game at Rochdale. Have you recovered?
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. It was nice, being with the supporters, wasn't it? Having a bit of a crack, then going having a meal in a Wetherspoons when we got there. A bit of a chat with Billy Oxley, reminiscing about days gone by when his dad was chairman, and then watching the game and heart in mouth till the very last minute when Ryan Shaw converted that try. Otherwise, it was all doom and gloom, wasn't it?
Well, it was, but as it transpired, obviously, the next day, Workington went and got beat at home to Hunslet. So I think even if we'd have got beaten that Rochdale game, we'd have still been top. But it was an unbelievable game, wasn't it? And Ryan Shaw to kick that in the sort of 9th minute of injury time was spectacular.
Yeah, it was. But a bit disappointing that we didn't beat them a bit easier. I mean, it's always been a hard ground for Barrow to get a result at. That's Barney barking. I'm having to do this in the kitchen, Tony, and he thinks there's somebody coming in. So, yeah, it was, I mean, the fact that we're going up and we struggled, really, being honest, to beat Rochdale, it's not good news, is it? We really need to strengthen for next season. We don't want to be scratching around at the bottom of the championship. We don't want to be relegated. We have to stay up because of the restructuring.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the supporters do recognise that we've got a good foundation there in terms of the sort of local talent that we've got in the team. But I think when you do go up to the championship, and let's be honest, we had 2 years experience, so we know exactly the standard that we've got to sort of reach. I would suggest that we need at least 10 players.
Well, I've heard a rumour that we have signed 4 and that they're, in inverted commas, good players, but I don't know who they are. And I don't know the veracity of the rumour that we've signed 4. But yeah, we do need a raft of players capable of holding their own, especially in the forwards in the championship.
Yeah, and as I say, I think the good thing, Dave, is that nice blend of local talent and a few. Let's call them sort of stars with Super League experience who might be on the fringes of first teams in the Super League. We've got some really good talent there, haven't we? Charlie Emsley and Mark Tyson's come through at centre in his first season there. You've got Luke Cresswell, you've got your Shane Tolles, your T. Ritsons, your Jake Carters, your Ryan Johnstons, I mean, Tom Hopkins, Danny Morrow. They're all capable, I think, of performing at that level, but they just need that extra bit of class to sort of integrate with them and bring them on.
Yeah, I agree with you, and we know it works because that's the sort of package that we had the last time we won the championship. We had a contingent from Hull. We had a couple of other out-of-towners, and we had the likes of James Nixon, Liam Finch, and lads like that playing alongside them, and we did well. So yeah, I mean, I think Crest will know that, and Steve Neal will know that. So it's an ongoing process, isn't it, of recruitment. So we just have to wait and see what happens.
Now, you did mention there, Dave, the sort of debate that's ongoing at the moment with regard to the restructure of the league and the financing. Now, we do understand that the money that the RFL have received, and the Super League, of course, from Sky, is a lot less than what it was. So there's going to be a few teams getting a lot less money than what they used to get, including Barrow. But there's also a massive opportunity for when Barrow go in the Championship, because there are rumours that there's going to be Super League 1 and Super League 2. And if you finish in the top 6 of the Championship, you could be playing in Super League 2 in Super League 1 in 2023. So there's a massive opportunity for Barrow to really, I don't know, get their act together and go for that top 6.
Well, yeah, there is that. But I think looking at the wider game, I think the RFL and Super League need to be very careful that they don't just end up with Super League 1 and Super League 2. Because that will then have a knock-on effect of, if there's no money trickling down, we all know the game, is struggling in the sense of getting people into the stadiums in these days, into the likes of Swinton and Oldham and Hunslet and Rochdale, never mind the West Wales and Coventry, figures. When you look at the figures of the attendances there's no way that they can exist without a disbursement, a central disbursement from the RFL. And I think if they go to Super League 1, Super League 2, and don't have some sort of plan to support below that, it will just die. And they don't see, they can't keep relying on aging Australians and New Zealanders to make up the teams in Super League and Super League 2 or whatever they call it, to maintain the standard. They need lads coming from, Cumbria. You look at the number of Cumbrians that are playing in the Super League now, who won't be there if the likes of Whitehaven, Workington and Barrow were to go to the wall because of how the RFL structure the funding. I'm quite concerned about this. The only thing they seem to be bothered about at the moment, the only thing I hear is Super League. And Super League, they're not even governed by the RFL. So, I mean, I was reading in the League Express this week. I don't know if you get that, Tony, but there were, supporters saying that Super League 1, Super League 2, all right, carry on, do what you want. The rest of them go back to being a winter sport. A separate game.
Yeah, I think we're coming to a crossroads, I think, in the general debate on rugby league. I mean, it's got to integrate, first of all, with the RFL Super League, and I think that's on the agenda, and I think that'll be a good thing. But then we've got to be a bit more bolder and get out there and sell the product. I mean, I've got nothing against women's football. I actually enjoy watching it. But last week, they had a live match on BBC Two at Saturday lunchtime, and I'm thinking, well, why can't they put a championship game on BBC? Because those games that were on Sky over the weekend were absolutely fantastic entertainment.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've said it for a while. I don't know why the RFL can't go to the BBC or ITV or, I mean, it used to be Premier Sports, didn't it, that used to put the championship on, and get them to televise some of the academy games. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. The games that I watch, Bradford and Batley, and Whitehaven and Halifax were cracking games, and if you were a neutral, or you weren't, a dyed-in-the-wool sort of rugby league fan, they really would. You'd had you sitting up thinking, "Oh, what a good game this is." But in this day and age, they don't have to be on live, or if they are on live, or whenever they're shown, you can use your Skybox or whatever to tape it. I mean, I don't know. They don't seem to have. The RFL don't seem to have enough expertise in marketing the game. I don't know, I only know Ralph Rimmer really these days. And Ralph's the figurehead. I don't know who's behind him, whether they have got the marketing expertise that they need. There was some talk of that Hearns guy that runs the boxing getting involved, but Eddie Hearns, but that seems to have gone off the radar now. But yeah, I agree with you. Something needs to be done.
Yeah, I think they're very good at social media, actually. I mean, I get all of the notices that the RFL issue, but yeah, it's just TV really and getting exposure to the general population. I know it's a hard sell and everything, but there's got to be massive improvement in the way that the game is sold to the British public, and the fact that Toulouse are probably favourites to get promoted to Super League, that can only bode well, in my opinion, for the growth of the game in France.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I look at rugby union as well, and I'm not involved in that, but I sometimes wonder if they're not in the same state as we are. It's just that their supporters don't moan as much about the state of the game. I mean, you don't see any games below the Premiership in rugby union. So how the likes of Rotherham and all these other teams that are in the second tier, how they stay afloat, I don't know. I don't know whether there's more money cascading down into that sphere. But I mean, they don't get on the telly either, but you don't hear so much about them, complaining about the state of the game because the Premier Division is in such a good state. So, I mean, I think we're obviously worse off than rugby union because there's big money in rugby union. The sponsorship is a lot bigger, but the crowds are not that much bigger. But I mean, just to throw another spanner in there, now I'm talking about having a 12-person team event, aren't they? Which made me think, well, one more person and they'll be playing rugby league.
Right, Dave. So, yeah, we watched Barrow at Rochdale. It was a bit traumatic, but thank heavens that they won because that's given them almost 5 months to sort a competitive team out, whereas the rivals, Workington, are having to play in the playoffs. And on Sunday, I did watch Workington against Keighley on our league. It was streamed live. It was very good. And it was 16-all at full time. And then it went to golden point, and Keighley gave a penalty away within the first minute and right in front of the sticks, and Carl Forber kicked 2 points. So Workington went through, and now they're at home to the winners of Keighley and Doncaster, who play this weekend. But I was very impressed with Keighley, actually. They came back very strong in that second half, and I don't think it's a done deal yet.
No, I mean, I didn't know it was on our league, and I had gone fishing on Sunday as well, locally. I mean, Workington have blown hot and cold all season, haven't they? We've been up doing commentary for Radio Cumbria, and in some games, not against the poor teams as well. Like the West Wales sort of things. Some of the better teams, they played really, really well, and then you go up the next week or the week after, and they don't play that well, and Chris Thorman's very disappointed in how they've performed. So, yeah, I could fully understand that Keighley will learn from this this match if they're playing Keighley. Doncaster are no puddings either. We know that. We've watched them a couple of times this year. So it'll be a hard game for Workington. I mean, I do hope that they manage to win it.
Oh, yeah,
and then we've got three Cumbrian teams in. But, yeah, like you say, I don't think they're red-hot favourites. They might be favourites because they're at home. But it'll be a wait-and-see moment, won't it?
Well, absolutely, yeah. I was taunting our buddy from Workington, Callum, who's appeared on CandoFM, and I haven't heard from him for a month since Barrow got promoted, so I thought he'd been hibernating or something, you know. But I said, well, there's a positive that's going to come out of this, Callum. If Workington don't quite manage to get promoted, at least Kane Barnes will be playing in the Championship in a Barrow shirt.
Yeah, he got a good write-up in the League Express this week. And as you know, we've both been impressed by his performances from Workington when we've seen him. I would like to see him at Barrow, but whether he'd be prepared to make the journey or not, it's a bit of a trek from Seaton. He lives at Seaton, down to Barrow twice a week to train, and then coming down, you know, every other week to play, and then playing away. It is a big ask, but we'd have to see if the terms that Barrow offer him are good enough. Then we all know if the terms are good enough, they will travel.
Yeah, as you said, Dave, we both do wish Workington all the best because we do want, as you said, 3 Cumbrian teams in the Championship. It's not only is it good for competition, it's also good for the bank balance as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just a little bit worried about Whitehaven at the moment, Tony. I don't know whether you've heard. You probably have. Their fullback, whose name I can't remember, but he's evidently...
Lewis
Walmsley, is possibly going to Wigan.
Right.
The rumours are. And that Joubert that they brought over from France is also... Jouffre. Well, my French is not as good as yours. Is being talked about as being recruited for a Super League club, and as well, I was very surprised to hear that Paul Charlton has been moved upstairs to director of rugby.
Gary Charlton.
Gary Charlton. Paul Charlton played for us, didn't he? Gary. Yeah. Naughty boy when he was a player, has been moved upstairs to director of rugby at Whitehaven. Yeah, I haven't heard who they're looking at as for a coach.
No, John T. Gawley, his assistant's the coach.
Oh, right. So it's a bit of a strange move, isn't it? I mean, Gary had enough.
I think so. I think he's got to a point where he's thought, you know, perhaps I don't need the stress of coaching, because it is stressful, obviously, and I think he's quite looking forward to going upstairs and overseeing recruitment and the way games are approached tactically and the welfare of the players and all that sort of stuff. So,
well, he'll have a bit of work to do because there's losing those two, and Shackley's retired due to a knee problem, and I think there's one or two others that might not be there next year. I mean, Dionne's knocking on. I haven't heard anything about him, and Jesse Joe Parker's retiring. So there's a rebuild there, and it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, and they have had their financial problems, as they've admitted. So we just have to see.
And the old guard was sort of replaced mid-season by a new bunch of directors. So, yeah, there's been a lot of upheaval at the recreation ground, hasn't there?
Yeah, well, I thought Gary had got the recruitment seemed to be very good, very astute, and he got them playing some good rugby. I mean, they were unlucky at the weekend. If they'd have kicked their goals, they could have probably won that game. But again, I thought both of those games showed how good the Championship is. You know, what a good standard it is and how watchable it is. And it's a pity that more people don't get a chance to see it.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. I mean, the thing about Whitehaven I was going to discuss with you, Dave, is that last season when COVID hit, I think they played about 7 or 8 games and hadn't won one, I think, from memory. They were near the bottom of the league, but all that was suspended. And then they started afresh this season and they only won 2 games, I think, in the first 9 or 10. But then they went on this fantastic run. And I think they only got beat a couple of times in the last 13 or 14 games.
Well, I think that was due to bringing Walmsley and that Frenchman who I want to call Joubert, but
Louis Jouffre.
I think the recruitment that they implemented, a quarter of the way into the season, and particularly Walmsley, from what I've been reading, it's a pity that we didn't get up there with Radio Cumbria, that we were doing Workington more than Whitehaven to see them. But from what I've read and what I saw at the weekend, I think those two players were very influential. And I think Dionne as well stood up, even though he's well into his 30s now. But I think he stood up as well. And I've always been impressed with him. I thought he was a quality player from when they brought him in.
Oh yeah,
and had the ability to change a game. When they brought him on as an impact player, you noticed there was a lift in the team, and they started to actually score some points. So they're going to miss him when he retires.
I mean, I suppose if I want to be a little bit provocative, Dave, if Whitehaven can finish 6th, why can't we?
Well, it's recruitment, isn't it? I think, and also it seems to be for Barrow, and I've said this a number of times, that we don't seem to be able to get players who sign on and they can only play one match at a time. They play one match and then they're injured for another 4 or 5, 6 matches. And that happens week in, week out. And then Crester's left with a bare 13. And we're travelling away with the club pet dog as 18th man or something. We need a bigger squad. And we need a more resilient squad. I mean, I would ask the question, are these players, Gary Wheeler, excellent player, very good signing, but he played 15 minutes since he's played about 15 minutes. Was he given a medical before he turned up? We need, we need a bigger squad. We need some bigger forwards. We need some more experienced players. I thought Hakim Mouloudi, once he recovered from his injury, has been a revelation. And playing in the centre, I thought, watching him at Rochdale and then watching him against West Wales in the final game down at Craven Park, was probably the best centre that Barrow have had since Adam Hughes. I bet T. Ritson loves playing on the wing outside Mouloudi, because Mouloudi plays as a class centre. He knows his job is to put the winger in, is to make the room, give the ball to the winger, and he scored. I mean, and T. Ritson, he scored 7 tries and has now become the leading try scorer in a single game for Barrow. I thought Mouloudi was excellent, and I hope, well, somebody said to me, we've got him on a 2-year deal. I hope that can be extended and we can keep hold of him and that he's enjoying his time at Barrow.
Well, it's the showcase, Dave, a week on Saturday. It's the grand final at Old Trafford. It's either going to be Catalan, Hull KR, Leeds or St Helens. So who's your money on?
Catalan, St Helens, I think. I think it'd be a bit closer for Hull KR if they were at Craven Park. Obviously, the Craven Park in Hull. But I think having to go to Perpignan, I think there'll be a sellout there, a full crowd. There won't be that many Hull KR supporters. There'll be a couple of hundred maybe if they get over, and the rest of them being Catalan supporters. I can't see Hull KR beating Catalan in Perpignan. I think Tony Smith's done an excellent job at Hull KR. I think they're going to be, I think the guard is changing, isn't it? I think Hull KR are going to be up there next year. They've got Lachlan Coote going from Saints. I think he'll add quite a bit to them, although that Will Dagger has been playing well. But I think Coote's in a different class. On the other game, I can't see Leeds beating Saints, to be honest. I think Saints, they'll be up for the game. Some of the players that are leaving will want to, leave on a high, and playing at Old Trafford in the grand final, that'll motivate them. So I think it'll be a good game. I think Agar has reinvigorated Leeds. I think there'll be a team to watch next year with Blake Austin and Aidan Caesar there. Where Luke Gale's going to go is another matter. He could come to Barrow if he wanted and do a job there. But no, I think it'll be Saints Catalan.
And who's your money on then in the final?
Catalan.
All right, that's interesting, Dave. Yeah. The only thing for me about Catalan is they're very powerful. They always have been. But they're subject to doing something silly every now and again. They either overplay it or whatever, and that, I don't know, a team like St. Helens can take advantage of that style of play. They're a little bit cavalier now and again.
French. I understand what you're saying, but I think their pack, I think it is far more powerful than St. Helens. You bring in Sam Cassiani on, as an impact player. You're good enough to have him coming on as an impact player. But I think it's important that Sam Tompkins plays. I think he's that just little bit of extra grist to the mill. If he doesn't play, I think St. Helens might have the edge. But I think with Tompkins playing, I still go for Catalan. And I think it would be good for the game for them to win. Obviously, St. Helens supporters won't say that, but I think it just give a lift to the game for somebody different, somebody other than Saints and Wigan, the old boys club, to win it. And also Toulouse going up, should they go up, will be another fillip for rugby league.
Yeah, I mean, Toulouse have gone up leaps and bounds, and when you watch them I've watched them a couple of times on our league and a few highlights. I mean, he put 66 into Whitehaven at the recreation ground about 3 months ago. It was something like 66-0.
Yeah, they're they've recruited well over the last couple of years. They're a class team. I'll be interested to see that final, which should be them and Featherstone. But I'd put my money on Toulouse, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dave, we've got Barrow promoted, we've got Whitehaven in the Championship, we've got Workington on the verge of Championship. So next season is looking good, really, but remarkably, I mean, it doesn't start till February. So, as I said at the start of the show, Barrow's got a good 4 months to really get themselves prepared for this challenge. And there's no reason why that with the right blend of local talent and a few class acts, that we can't be going for that top 6.
Well, you sound a bit like Des Johnson, because the last time we were promoted and I was on the board and Des was chairman, I remember saying to Des when we got promoted, great, we're in the Championship. We just need to consolidate, and then we can move forward. And Des said, expletive, we're not consolidating, we're going to win it. And we did. We went straight up and we won the Championship. So it's not impossible, but we do have to, as we've been saying in this chat, we do need to strengthen the squad. I'm not saying get rid of anybody,
no,
but we need to strengthen the squad, to expand the squad. And as you say, I mean, Steve Neal's saying, you know, from what he's been saying, the money is there with everything that the board have done, and I think they need a great pat on the back for what they've done during the pandemic, and they've kept the club afloat and in a really good financial situation. Now we need to spend some of it and bring players in that will enable us in an expanded squad to stay in the Championship, you know, for a long time. And I know it's difficult. It's not, you know, battling Dewsbury and Halifax. Players don't have to travel. They don't have to think about where they work, changing their jobs or anything like that. We've got all of that to overcome, but I don't think it's impossible. I'm looking forward to hearing some news about signings. Is Cresta going to continue in the Championship? We don't know. So, yeah, we've got time. Let's use it wisely.
Okay, Dave, it's been nice to hear your dulcet tones once again. Back from another holiday and obviously going on another one at the weekend. So thanks very much, and we'll have a chat in a few weeks' time once the season's complete.